So I want to record this session. Normally I don't record. So this whole idea of action, inaction comes as part of what we call the Karma Yoga. Karma is known as action, but karma has many meanings people normally use. So the karma kind of also they see it as what do you say as an accumulation of your past actions, and as a result of the past actions, what we undergo in the current situation is also people use it as karma, but which is in my opinion incorrect. So here, if I treat karma as an action, then what is this yoga in action? Is an interesting topic by itself, right? And it's classified as karma yoga. Karma, again, action. Yoga means union or oneness. So why this action has to be spoken so much about? Now here, it is not qualifying it as a good action or a bad action. What we are only referring to as an action. And how do we perform action? We perform action through in our body, but the driver around that action, suppose if I want to pluck a flower, my hands are plucking the flower, but who is the real guide behind that action? It's our mind. But who is telling the mind to do such a thing? Why do I need to pluck a flower? That you can say, oh, I like the flower. I mean, we can always enjoy the flower on the plant or the tree as is, but we want to pluck it. So the intention, without knowledge of proper knowledge, what it does is the intention is desire based. I desire this flower, so I must possess it. In order to possess it, we pluck the flower out of the tree. Very, simple. The motive behind the action, or that action, is driven by my personal desire, in other words, or my impressions. My impressions are driving, and if you see, all our actions are driven by impressions. Only heartfulness kind of gives this inner science. But if you look at, even you read this so-called Gita as a scripture and say, oh, I must be desireless. And you keep telling yourself you must be desireless. And in order to prove your desirelessness, what we do is we inflict, self-infliction starts happening. Oh, I want an ice cream. No, oh, I should not be desire. I should not have any desire. So stop eating ice cream. Oh, I want to buy a nice car. Oh, no desire. Stop buying the car. So the extreme, taking this extreme, the desireness to the extreme, what many people do is, without proper understanding, they take the path of asceticism. What it means is, leave the family, leave your job, and leave any connections with the society, go into a secluded area. Typically in the olden days they used to get into the forest where there is no human inhabitants. They go there and supposedly meditating and suppressing all the desires. Did they achieve it? Only God knows. So it's very, very important to kind of understand these aspects and bring clarity how I should, comprehend these concepts, number one, and how can I implement this in my life for my own upliftment of the society, upliftment of my own family. So if you understand it properly, we don't have to run away from anything. But if I don't understand it correctly, then I'm working the opposite way, against my own interest, against my own development. My intent might be good, but my application is wrong. Then you will see the results also in the same way. So, like I was telling someone last week, why there is so much action, should be performed without expectation of any fruits. Why we should be desireless. Why there should not be any attachment. That basically means those are those principles, if you apply correctly for the perfection of the work. When the work reaches its culmination, perfection, then you can call it as karma yoga. Anything reaches its culmination, you can define it as yoga. That means you have reached a state of oneness with that aspect. When your action reaches its culmination, it becomes karma yoga. If this concept is understood correctly, then we can apply, take steps, proper steps, educative steps, with the proper understanding, with proper, discriminative abilities, what we call viveka buddhi, a wisdom to differentiate between right versus wrong, ennobling versus otherwise. All these abilities develops automatically with this understanding. And then I can apply these things in my life correctly and mold my life in the proper direction. So for this, I don't have to detach from the family, detach from the work, detach from the society. It's a very wrong understanding of detachment. Wherever you say there is no attachment, detachment, we think we have to elude something out of our life. Oh, that ice cream should not exist in my life. Okay, and then you don't eat ice cream forever. What did you achieve? Nothing. You're always thinking about it, but you're always suppressing that idea. It's a psychological suppression, nothing else. Okay. So I have few quotes. I thought I'll share it with you from this book, Bhagavad Gita. I collected some of them. The most famous verse, you can call it, for those of you who have not read or looked into Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is a conversation between the disciple Arjuna, who is supposedly a warrior. They were at the brink of the war with their enemies, and all these enemies are Arjuna's own family, his cousin brothers, his grandfathers, his family, immediate family. And at the time of the war, and the war is about to begin in the battlefield, Arjuna says, hey, to his mentor, Lord Krishna, he says, he addresses him as Bhagavan as being God. That's the way, meaning of the Bhagavan is. I can give you other meanings of Bhagavan, but right now for this discussion purpose, let's treat that as God. So Lord, all these are my own family. My grandfather, I played in his lap when I was a kid. How can I kill all these people and then win this battle, win the kingdom? For what? And so Arjuna, he's in despair. He drops his weapons. And then the Lord Krishna starts giving him the so-called his guidance, how he should look at life as. So those conversations were published as Bhagavad Gita. And the key theme of this Bhagavad Gita is, there are many aspects he talks about. The key theme is Karma Yoga. And it's all about the action. And this action, how to perform, how to think about it. Because when he's talking, it's so open-ended, it kind of created many interpretations from which point of view any other, the persons are looking at it. So each commentator had a different point of view. And based on that, different systems have emerged. Each one feels very strong about their understanding. Right? So, but being in heartfulness, practicing heartfulness for over 30 years now, when I'm reading this, I kind of see a lot of practical aspects which we can bring to our life if you understand this correctly. So he says, the Sanskrit verse goes like this: Karmanyeva vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachina ma karma phala te bhruma ma te sango sva karmani. What it means is, one who prudently practice the science of work without attachment can get rid of both good and bad reactions in this life. Therefore, strive for yoga, which is the art of working skillfully, means with proper consciousness. Even you will hear Daji says the skill in spirituality. He talks about skill, development of the skill. Babuji emphasized on it. Skill in action. So this is the whole idea of non-attachment. Here, non-attachment without attachment really basically meaning focus on the work, not on the results. Oh, if I do this job, I'll get millions. And if your focus is on millions, you can never do the job correctly and you won't have those millions. The millions will come if the job is right. The quality of the job is right. So here, that's why the focus is on quality, not the quantity. If we understand this, if we try to bring quality in everything we do, then the results will happen and must happen. That is the law. So that's why, many times, how can I work without the goal in my mind? Is the goal. should not be desire based. Again, if I'm doing something for the money, money should not be my focus. Bringing the quality in what I'm doing should be the focus. Then it becomes a perfection. It becomes a perfection and beauty. Lot of times, this is my personal opinion and learning. Whenever things are not going right at my workplace, the way I look at it is, or the feedback which is coming from my boss or whoever, I can look at it in two ways. Or, they are being partial. I can come up with so many reasons, the negative feedback I got from them. Or the right way to look at it is, that means I need to increase my skill in work so that I can perform better. So if I have to take the second one, I need to work upon myself to improve my skills. Maybe I'm not producing the way it should come out. Then, my attitude towards the work changes, attitude towards my life changes, even attitude towards my subordinates and the boss changes. But if I take the negative way, or they're trying to be biased and they're trying to help promote somebody else and they're trying to suppress me, blah, 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 negative ideas, then I go in the other direction. And, I probably look for another job. But trust me, wherever you go, if this quality is not improved, you will get the same feedback everywhere. It's not going to change. You'll get the same feedback at home from your own family. You go to the work, you get the same feedback. You go anywhere, you go to friends, you get the same feedback. That is not going to change. So that's why the practical aspects, implementation of this is very important. How can I perfect my actions? How can I bring a complete sense of duty? Then what happens is, the doership, the attachment to the work is gone. How? When I do any work 100% complete, and I don't have to revisit again. When I don't have to revisit again, do you say I still have the attachment to it? No, the attachment is gone. It is 100% attachment. When it's done, 0% attachment. That's why Babuji calls it as non-attached attachment. Means when you have to perform, it's 100%. When you're done, you're done. Lot of times what's happening in our lives, we go to work, we think of home. We come home, we think of work. We're always doing the other way. That means, why it is happening? That means I'm not 100% at home, I'm not 100% at work. And you see, that is creating attachment, and that is creating suffering. That is creating unnecessary brooding in our lives. And then we say, oh, I cannot shut my mind off. We cannot shut our mind off because I'm thinking about the things which are not in the present. If I am at home, I should be focused on my home, what needs to be done. My attention, undivided attention to the home. If I am at work, undivided attention to the work. Then I am in perfect balance. If I am attending to a person, if I am a doctor, that it should be 100% attention to that patient and see what the patient is saying and treat the patient in the right way with all the sense of duty. That's it. When you attend to that patient, the patient is gone. You don't have to think about the patient again. You immediately, instantly, without even any effort, we developed non-attachment. So there is an attachment and instant non-attachment. And this is how it should be looked at. Oh, non-attachment. That means, I'm attached to my patients too much. Why am I attached to my patients too much? I feel something left over when I attend to the patient. Maybe we did not attend to them correctly. Maybe, I'm looking at my text messages while the patient is explaining the problem. Then how can I treat the patient correctly? And the mind, the wisdom in our heart knows, hey, doc, you did not do the good job. It remains with you. And then it becomes either a guilt consciousness, or you will say, hey, I'm the doctor, whatever I do is right. And it kind of brings that the ego pushes up and you say, I'm superior. So all this is a result of not doing the proper action. That is why there is so much emphasis on action in Karma Yoga is given. But unfortunately, it is misinterpreted. Then we go round and round in cycles. Oh, there should not be any fruit of your actions. If I am starting an action, the fruit of my action is already in my mind. Right? How can I shun the fruit of action? But having the fruit of action, if I don't perform my duty, that fruit I will never realize. If then my focus is only on the fruit and not the labor, then the fruit never happens. So it is not about the fruit we should not be desiring, or it is not about the fruit we should be thinking, but the fruit should not be the focus. Yes, the fruit is my goal, fruit is my objective, but that should not become my main focus. My current action should be my focus. That's what is called living in the present. Correct? So that's why this is this whole idea of the duty, which is again translates to karma, is essential in our life. Okay. So I'll stop here for any questions, and then we can get into meditation.
Brother, can you expand more about culmination? You described the word culmination and expanded more about it, right?
Culmination is like the top you reach performance. If you say Sachin Tendulkar, oh, he is the top cricketer. He is, if he's there, the team is going to definitely win. So means he reached that culmination level of culmination in the field of cricket. Okay.
So,
So that happens only with the proper sense of duty and working upon yourselves continuously to bring that perfection in your work. When it comes to a near perfection, we call it that as culmination in your work.
okay.
Is
So
that
here,
perfection? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yeah. So just to iterate, so basically, what the way we need to do the duty is like, give you 100% with consciousness, and with a top skill. Like whatever you do just in 100% perfectly with conscious mind.
Perfection happens if you take interest and pay attention. Those two things are required for perfection. If those things are not there, how much ever skilled you are, the perfection doesn't come.
Makes sense. Thank you, brother.
I'm wondering, is that perfection or is that doing your ultimate best?
So there is nothing called ultimate best, because that best is already in us. We are not bringing it out because we are not showing interest, and we lost the sense of duty. Like I was saying last week, the doership is always there if there is not 100% sense of duty is not there. If there is a sense of duty, a perfect sense of duty, then I would never ask a question, who is the doer? It really doesn't matter. Did I do it? Is my intelligence is the contributor for this doers doing this work? Or is my boss contributing, ideas contributed to this? Or is it the God's force behind me? The inner Chaitanya, we call it. Is that the force behind my doership? That question doesn't arise at all. So when that question doesn't arise, who did it? It doesn't matter. The work is done. Correct? So then, we unnecessarily, because we are not confident that the work is done, we have to bring another attribute. Oh, you know what? My guru, my master has done this work. It's not me. If it is for me, I was not capable. Because he did it, the work has done. We become humble. But see, even there also, I want to assign that doership to somebody. If I'm not assigning it to myself, thinking I'm showing my devotion to my teacher, thinking I'm elevating myself by saying, oh, my guru did it, I did not do it. But there also I'm bringing some doership. It doesn't matter who did it. My guru did it. There's a doership. But if that question doesn't arise in my mind at all, whether I did it, my guru did it, my boss did it, doesn't matter. My wife did it, doesn't matter. Work is done. My sense of duty, my interest in myself and in my immediate society is perfect. Then whatever the duty I do it with my heart, I do it with full interest, and I ensure it's completed. Then I don't have to even think who did it. It doesn't matter, work is done. That is known as leaving the fruit of the action. It's not my fruit, it is Lord's fruit. There also you have this idea of doership. When that question doesn't arise at all, I am repeating myself, then there is no sense of doership. It's very important. In one of the verses in Bhagavad Gita, it says, those who see action in no action, and those who see in no action, action, is an ultimate saint or the one who is achieved. What do you mean by when there is no action, you are seeing some action in it? When there is no action being performed, you are seeing some action in it. How is it possible?
Keep awareness.
Huh?
To have a consciously aware about things.
No, it's not about consciously awareing about the things. Means there you are basically identifying a requirement in that state. Then you are proceeding to fulfill that requirement. Okay. Very simple thing. I mean, for example, the other day we were walking around the ashram, and the friend who is walking with me suddenly moves to the side here and there. I asked him, what were you doing? Oh, there is some trash on the ground. I am picking it up. Okay. So he is kind of having this sense of duty to keep his own house clean. Things are lying around. He's trying to put them in the trash. which is not necessary, which is not supposed to be there, is organizing. See, that sense of action comes down to mundane things. So that means there was no action required at that point, but his sense of duty prompted him to do something. So the same sense of duty when we move around the society, when we look at the societal issues, we contribute in the right way. We don't get biased. Oh, I'm biased to this political party because I'm been supporting this political party. We always look at the right things. Are the right decisions happening? Are they helpful to my society? Then I support that, political leader or whoever. It doesn't matter what my party association is. I'm just giving you an example. Today we are biased religiously, and all these biases, the wrong forces are very much using it to turn the people around, in a wrong direction. That is creating so much commotion in the society. Look at it. When you have the right sense of duty, means when you see action in no action, and then no action in action, means when the duty is being performed, I must see to the completion of it. That means until there is no other action has to happen. If you understand this, you will also look at the practical implications of this non-doership, non-attachment, all these things, seeing action in no action or otherwise, all this makes sense. Okay. That's very important.
Well, is this accurate to say, in modern terms, is just being a good citizen?
Yes.
It is, if all boats rise, it rises for me too.
Yes. When my sense of duty is 100%, then I cannot be biased in any direction. No one can push me in that direction, influence me in that direction. So I'm steadfast. When I'm steadfast in every situation, what is called as Sthita Pragnata. You see, one leading to the other, how it is happening. And people say, oh, if you do karma yoga, you'll be, your mind is purified. You see how mind is purified? Because there is a complete sense of duty, and there is a proper focus, and there are proper discriminative abilities, there is steadfastness. When all this come together into your being, you're already perfect. We don't have to talk about what imperfections were removed. So we always look things upside down. The reality is something, and what we are seeing is something completely different. So a small understanding concept, sense of duty, will lead to everything correctly. If you say, oh, I have to work 20 hours at my workplace, the two things are happening. You have more sense of duty, or you don't know how to divide your attention and time, or you have no focus at all. I basically conclude the last one. There is no proper focus because there is no proper sense of duty. That's why we are dragging and dragging. My work gets dragged. And then I end up neither paying attention to my family, nor to the work, nor to the society. And my life is a mess. So the teachings are understood correctly, then we come up with some practical aspects from the teaching which are implementable, and start implementing them. Okay, so let's get into meditation. So we'll sit for about 20 minutes to half an hour with the eyes closed. with the supposition, this higher essence in our heart guiding our lives, and we are connecting with that higher essence within us. With that idea, just close your eyes and wait. In this waiting process, lots of thoughts will come, let them come. They're basically all those thoughts which are coming out are, they're all ours. Treat them as such. Okay. We don't have to remove the thoughts. We don't have to control our mind during meditation. We leave our mind free with this idea, supposition that that mind is connecting with this inner higher essence. In other words, with the divinity within me. When I say that's all, meditation is over. So please start meditation.